What's up, Exiles? It's Gemini, and today I'm going to share my Ranger Tornado Shot Pierce COCer. And this build thrives off of a couple of things, mainly when we look at the skill tree, these projectile nodes. Now, these are new, relatively new with Forsaken Masters. It comes with 8% projectile damage, 5% pierce and projectile damage, 5% more pierce, same node, and then 30% pierce. So this screams, any projectile that can pierce, it's like a free gem. It doesn't water it down. It's 100%, 40% pierce chance, if that makes any sense. Anything that's a projectile, both spell or attack, will benefit from projectile damage nodes. These shadow ones, such as Sniper, those will also enhance both spell and attack, as long as the spell says projectile, like Ball Lightning, Arctic Breath, and Fireball. Now I chose these because Arctic Breath, while it has a good damage range and it does good damage by itself, it really is lackluster unless you add other mechanics like Chain or Pierce or GMP. It's got that shotgun factor, much like Fireball. It's pretty much the cold equivalent to Fireball, only it drops a trail on the ground that slows mobs and it covers large portions of the map. Now, when you use Pierce from the tree, that's all I have, 40% Pierce, it actually is like a train wreck. It just goes through the mobs and hits the mobs on the other side. So when you have something like an Undying Totem and a bunch of mobs in front of it, the Fireball and GMP Arctic Breath will just continue to penetrate through, which is very, very nice for this particular COC build. Ball Lightning, it doesn't really have a projectile that stops. It's pretty much going to go through whatever, unless it's like a wall. It'll go over ledges and stuff like that, so that's gives it a little bit more value. It also applies to Shock Stack. I also tried this build with Arc, but Arc is not a projectile. It's just a cast, and it's a spell, and it's not enhanced by GMP. So I tried to stick with specific skills that both are enhanced by GMP and projectiles. So we have lightning damage, cold damage, and fire damage, the trifecta. If you can manage to steer away from the Thief's Torment, you can run things like the Taming, which would be very, very powerful. However, I didn't see that there was any kind of damage problem. Maybe if anything, it was there in the single target. Now let's move on to the single target and the actual bow. You have three choices in my book. You have the Wind Ripper, which is the Cadillac of all COC bows, and it applies the cold damage, lightning damage, and it also has a secondary MF function like increased quantity, increased rarity. So those are super, super nice, will make you wealthy. Definitely worth the investment. I would pick one up if you can afford it. But some cheaper alternatives are both Death's Harp and Doomflesh. Now we're going to test all these different uniques out in the same map, so you'll get a visual understanding of what's going on. Death's Harp is very, very slow, 1.21. However, it has 100% increased global crit. Now, global crit is something that works on spell and attack. I'm using Malagaros with global crit and crit multi. Global meaning both. Same thing with this amulet. We have crit strike and multiplier. Crit is global on this, and Rat's Nest is global crit chance. So a bunch of amazing things that synergize well with both its spells and attacks, and that's why you'll really see this build really do well. Now we're talking about the difference between Doomflesh and Death's Bow. Doomflesh does give you that 60% increased mana regen. It's a much faster bow. It makes you feel more agile. It also has physical damage as extra damage as an element. I'm not sure if that's like elemental hit where it randomizes which element it's going to do, but we don't do that much physical damage. 13 to 50, that's pretty much negligible, so it doesn't really matter. So you're looking at the top three stats. I'm looking at maybe rearranging some of the gear so that I could run this on mana and make it feel good. But Thief's Torment is the bread and butter, kind of like makes this build feel really nice because of the life gain on hit and the mana gain on hit. Now those two things by itself give me a lot of survivability and a lot of resources so that I'm able to spam such, you know, abilities and level up this tornado shot. I don't have to keep it at low level because of the mana cost and the mana multipliers from COC and GMP. Now these don't add multipliers, they're just there. For single target, my choice was Ice Spear, Fireball, Cast on Crit, and Arctic Breath. Now why isn't Ball Lightning in this one? Because Ball Lightning is a good area coverage, but it's not a very good single target choice. And the fact that Ice Spear does more damage up front, I use this, you know, pretty much just to streamline like a laser beam of projectiles to kill a boss. Before I had GMP tied to it, I was running 2 greens, but I found that because I have a skill called King of the Hill, which gives me a knockback every time I get a crit, and I crit 92.7% of the time. It's just way too much crit, and then what ends up happening is the mob will start here and then just start moonwalking backwards off the screen. So it was getting outside of my shotgun range, so I figured I'm just going to pick a projectile that goes off the screen. So precinct boss, you know, other kinds of undying stuff or high HP mobs or high targets will just get pushed and hit by all the projectiles. Freeze Pulse wasn't really part of the equation because it's anything with limited range. Same thing with EK, because King of the Hill will just naturally push stuff off screen. So I felt like Ice Spear, Arctic Breath, and Fireball were the best choices for single target. Now if I were to add in a 4th spell, I don't know, we could look into Crit Multiplier or other things. I haven't really tested that out, but we'll see. As for a curse, I have Temp Chains. You'll see me self-cast that very rarely just to suppress maybe a section of the screen, but I really don't even need this. So this could be substituted with Enduring Cry or something like that. We have your typical cast and damage taken, increased duration, Immortal Call. I have enhanced to it, so it'll also buff up Immortal Call. The Itsiri Step Boots. This is the one where I decided to get the 3 blue and 1 red. This is the famous Curse on Hit, Assassin's Mark, and Herald of Thunder. So as you get kills, your Herald of Thunder will go around, you know, shocking the next target, not shocking, hitting the next target and applying Assassin's Mark. And when I get that kill with that target cursed, I can get a power charge because the way Assassin's Mark works. It says 34% chance to gain a power charge when slain. So getting 3 blue, 1 red is actually 4 off. So the best bet is to pretty much get like 2 blue, 1 red, and then, or 2 blue, 2 red, and then try corrupting it. These boots are fairly cheap. They're going to be pretty hard to get in a new league, but over time they'll get lower and lower and more common. So this one seemed to be the most viable choice. Malagaros are both evasion pieces, and so is Rat Nest, pure evasion, so they're all green. So one of these pieces are going to really struggle, and hopefully you can get that prismatic socket. As for the chest, at Series Splendor, because I'm killing at such a rapid rate, the life gain and mana gain on kill are excellent. You don't need this chest. I also have an alternative chest in my stash. It's a 6-link Crypt Armor, and it performs, you know, pretty well. The only major difference is the on-kill functions, both life and mana. Let me see if I can get to show you that real quick. It's not too far in my stash. Alright, so this one, Tri-Res, Life. It's actually got better Tri-Res than this one, but this one offers more evasion and the life gain on kill. It's kind of like Dodries on crack. So it's another way to sustain and tank hits and heal up quickly. This belt is just a rare belt, very, very nicely rolled. This is the one I shared on my other character, and the one I crafted from an Alk. You can see in other video. This amulet is nothing special. I Elrion crafted 11 to 23 chaos damage. I paid no reflect back for that. And then I have, you know, a quiver. It's not anything too great, just a couple resists, crit, dex. And as far as stat distribution, strength seems to be the biggest drawback. You need at least 108 for your support gems to max out. But I do recommend you know, you get the 150 or possibly level up your casting damage taken, Immortal Call, you know, to the max if you want. I don't take that much damage. Reflect is easy to deal with because I have both Anders Guile, and since I have 634 evasion and double that, you know, I'm pretty much projectile evasion capped, so I don't have to worry about my own projectiles. My accuracy is pretty poop. It doesn't need to be great. It's 84%. So what else do we need to discuss on my skills? That's pretty much it. So we're gonna go into this map, and I'm gonna start with the Wind Ripper, and you're gonna see how volatile this actually is. And I give a lot of credit to the Pierce nodes and the projectile nodes, both in Shadow and to the right side of Ranger. So as you see, I have no problems generating power charges, and this has become a very popular way to generate power charges. However, it comes at a cost, and it comes at a 4-link, you know, 3 blue, 1 red. The red is for reduced mana. If you don't need the reduced mana, I guess technically you could run it on a 3-link and just run the Herald. But very, very potent. I clear maps like crazy good. And then as far as the single target with the Wind Ripper, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when I can find some mobs. Hopefully we can find an Undying pack so I can just unload into it. Alright, so this one is just regular. This is streamlining single target hits that pierce. I have hold on, like desynced a little bit. I guess it's best shown when I do it on Merveil and things like that. But the gems in here aren't fully leveled, and I think it would be very, very good with a 6-link and another spell. Or maybe even Crit Multiplier. But some of the defenses that keep me safe, King of the Hill is definitely a huge, huge help. Also, we have chilling effect of, you know, the ground chill from Arctic Breath. We have a lot of dodge. We have 40% attack dodge, 45% spell dodge, and then we have 51% chance to evade attacks, and double that minus the cap for projectile attacks. Now you can see me just steamrolling. You know, I have to shoot once and then move, and it does extremely well. We're gonna go ahead and swap. You know, you're not gonna be able to see my single target anymore, but you'll still see the AoE, and since the spells are the bulk of my damage, you'll see that it does extremely well with the map clears. I lose the MF feature and the extra elemental damage from Wind Ripper, plus the attack speed and the more reliable crit chance, but I can still clear maps just as, you know, nearly as easily. Very, very volatile. So this is the Doomfletch, pretty fast attacking, not all too different than the Wind Ripper. Pretty consistent. I don't suggest that you switch to this until you can get to King of the Hill and get the crit nodes, the major crit nodes, and I'll point those out to you in just 1 second. Alright, so if we look, this Lethality cluster, this Heartseeker cluster, and King of the Hill, once you get those with these projectile damage nodes, then I would say it's okay to use a Death's Harp or a Doomfletch for either case. Alright, we've cleared this floor. Let's go ahead and open this jewelry box. Guarded by Rogue Exile, that's fine. I am using a Rumi's concoction also, so that I can get extra block chance. You notice that I'm a ranger and I don't have a shield, but you can still block with attacks and spells. 32, 18, and it goes up to 40 and 20. Alright, so in the next floor we're going to clear with a Death's Harp. You'll notice this is a lot slower in pace, but I do get that extra crit multi, so the hits are probably going to be more quality, and they're not going to be so much of a burden on my mana. So this is probably doable without a Thief's Torment, just sustaining off a mana regen or something like that. You can also put Mana Leech on top of your Herald of Ash if you prefer to siphon mana that way. It's definitely a possibility. Again, this is the Death's Harp with the same build, same functions. I don't have the single target set up, but you can see how it would be theoretically very, very effective still with, you know, items that cost anywhere from like an ALC to like 5 chaos. Now Death's Harp is a very popular leveling up bow, so you might have to pay a handful of chaos, but Doomfletch is an extremely unpopular bow that was recently added not too long ago. Alright, that was desync, not the actual build or the bow. And to finish off, we're going to use the Wind Ripper to take down the boss. Now, if I had brought in a tool like Decoy Totem, this boss would be so much easier because I'd just be able to freely unload. Alright, this is the Death Harp clear. The additional arrow is also nice, however, it doesn't make like an additional projectile. So it may help a little bit better with the healing factor because the Thief's Torment, and it gives you a higher success, chance of success of hitting more targets. Okay, so we're gonna get the Wind Ripper back on. We're gonna do this boss, and it's pretty much just running semicircles because I don't have the Decoy Totem. And you'll notice that the AoE is very, very strong. It's able to deal with, whatever comes at me at 360 degrees, no problems. Oh, and I don't have my barrage set on single target.
Nightmare prevails.
You see everything is pretty much assassin's marked because I'm killing so fast. I've done double boss of this guy. It's still pretty easy. Mainly because the handling of ads and that frost totem, it's just so easily handled. So Tornado Shot is officially my favorite skill for COCing. If I had to choose another one, it would probably be that new wand skill. I also see the same kind of setup potential using maybe barrage as a single target and using that new wand physical attack that explodes, that being the AoE. Hope you guys like this video. If you want to check out the gear, I'll link it below and the skill tree. Thank you guys for watching, and feel free to subscribe. Peace out.